Today, I would like to introduce the very lovely and gorgeous Lola Berry. Lola is a nutritionist and she's published 2 books, The 2020 Diet, and she followed that recently with the launch of the 2020 Diet Cookbook. Welcome to Simply Wellbeing, Lola. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. We had to get Lola in the car because she got, her sat-nav, I think, might have been taking you in the wrong direction. How are you doing?
Now I'm sitting on Princess Highway having a nice little chat to you.
Oh, you're hilarious. So we've got a few questions for you. And Fiona and I went to your book launch a couple of weeks ago. And, You know, I mean, I've got the book and it's such a great recipe book. And especially just as somebody that suffers from food intolerances, I've always been bought over the years, any Christmas present, people give me a cookbook on food with food intolerances. And what I've always found is that they're never healthy. And
yes.
Do you find that as well?
Absolutely, because they use there's so much junk in gluten-free stuff, I think, for starters. A lot of it. There's some awesome stuff out there too, but it's like they're looking for these alternatives for, gluten-free breads that are often full of a lot of things that the body isn't even going to really thrive off. For me, it's just all about really good, whole, simple, clean food.
So I think that every person in the health industry has some sort of health journey that they went on to embark to become a health practitioner themselves. And so I was wondering, what's your journey that brought you to where you are?
Oh, I mean, it's been a really interesting one. Before I was even into health, I was totally unhealthy. So I was a DJ. I was partying 5 nights a week. I wasn't healthy at all. Absolutely, I was. I was a little party animal, and I just wasn't honouring my health at all. I went on this summer detox, and I was like, wow, I had no idea that you could feel so good by eating good foods, and it could taste really good as well. And then from there, that's literally like 9 years ago now. And then from there, I've had my own lots of different health journeys. I've suffered both ends of the eating disorder spectrum. So I've been an emotional eater and carried a lot of weight, and I've been completely underweight as well and had an eating disorder. So I've experienced quite a lot of a bit of a health journey, I guess you could say. And I feel like this book has been a little bit of a celebration of me coming back to more that mindfulness with food and really honouring who I am as a human and also as somebody that just wants to be literally the best that they can be.
And I think a lot of people can relate to you, Lola, because there's a lot of health people out in the industry that just show themselves as these perfect beings. And look at me, look how beautiful I look, and look how healthy and strict I am. And a lot of people can't relate to that. So I think hearing about a journey that has had the ups and downs and struggles, and like you say, you were the normal person, partying and doing all this kind of thing, I think a lot of people can relate to it, and you get your message out there really well.
For me, anytime I do an interview or anything, anytime I get up and speak, I just go, Lols, just be real. So I'm never going to hide the truth from anybody because I think that would be inauthentic, and I always just come from the heart with anything that I do, which is why this book is also it's got my heart and soul in it, because it is just such a big part of who I am and where I've come from. So it makes me really happy that you do get that feeling from it.
And being in the health industry, was that something that was hard to admit to come out with, that you've had these struggles with your weight?
Absolutely, and also working in media even more so, because initially there was a lot of pressure to lose weight. So I was getting told that I was too fat to be on TV, never to wear yellow, failure of a nutritionist, all of this kind of jazz. I was getting all of that on television or as feedback, and
that's hard.
Yes, that was a hard pressure to deal with, and then to go to the other end of the spectrum where producers would say I'm too disgustingly thin to film. So it was a really big journey, but at the same time I feel great because now I'm so honest about it, but also I eat now for me, so I don't really care what anyone thinks. The reality is I do work in media, so people are either going to think I'm too skinny or not skinny enough, probably for the rest of my life, and that's fine. So now it makes me even want to honour my health more and just do what feels perfect for me.
And was there a difference for you emotionally being, because you've said you've been at 2 different ends of the spectrum, between being overweight and being underweight?
Absolutely. Overweight, you've got absolutely no self-confidence, and there's a lot of self-hate and self-sabotage because I was a binge eater. And I'm not talking just like, a little bit of chocolate cake. Like, I would make a cake and eat the whole cake, and family block sizes of Cadbury chocolate, bags of Doritos. Like, I would go to the extent of harming myself pretty much. And so at that stage, my self-worth was always very low. And then at the other end of the spectrum, it becomes a bit more psychological in that you get a bit body dysmorphic. So you can't really, you lose perspective of what is you, really. And so, to be completely honest, and for all your listeners out there, I got a lot of help. Like, I had friends that helped me, but I also saw therapists, counsellors, healers. I think I had a shamanic healer at one stage, hypnotherapist. I tried everything, but the thing that helped me the most was probably the amazing friends, but also the therapist, I would say. So, I mean, it is a psychological, eating disorders are a very psychological case.
And how did you transform your relationship with food to a more positive one? Because, I mean, from what I understand, it is an ongoing issue for people that suffer from these disorders.
Absolutely. I took a lot of time out, so I stopped filming and doing all the things that are my normal work, and I went into self-study. So I did yoga teacher training, meditation, and I really just said, you've got to sort yourself out and you've got to start coming from your heart again. And so I didn't know what to do, and I just enrolled straight into an intense yoga teacher training course, and that taught me to come back to that heart space and really harness that energy.
Well, I believe that the greatest teachers are going through adversity, and what the message you can give to women going through it is so powerful, because you've actually, not only do you have the nutritional knowledge, but you actually got the personal experience behind it. So what would you say to women out there who look in the mirror and don't like what they see?
Well, I mean, that was me for a very, very, very long time, and I had a friend that every night, I lived with him for a while when he was helping me get healthy, and every night he would say, Lola, I want you to say I am beautiful before you go to bed. And I would cry every night. He'd ask me to do that. He's like, you have to say I am beautiful. And I would say, I don't believe you, and I didn't. And that said, I still did it. Like, I worked with positive affirmations in present tense. I really worked on, I remember waking up one morning, and I think I'd binge eaten the day before, and I just woke up one morning, I went for a run, and I was like, stuff this, Lola. You are the only person that can get you where you need to go, and you are the only person who is stopping you from getting you where you need to go. So let's just man up and do this. So I kind of had a pretty honest chat with myself, and I think that is probably a key as well. Like, you've got to be really, straight up front with yourself and go, right, what do I need to do to achieve what I need to achieve? Yeah,
I think that's so important, because a lot of people with disorders of this type, whether it's eating too much or not eating enough, is that they're not necessarily honest with themselves, or they can't see it for whatever reason. And so, like you say, being really honest with yourself is the only way to get through it, I would think.
Oh, it's definitely the first step, and then just getting as much help as you can. And I used to see help as a bit of a weakness, and it changed my life and my perspective, and it gave me the strength that I needed when I did need that support. So being not afraid of getting help and asking for help, and also, I think just maybe as well, I've got a manifesto book, which is like a dream book, and I just write down all my goals. You write down your goals and you see, how am I getting there? And if, what you're doing to yourself is holding you back from that, then that can be a bit of a reality check as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's such great advice to people. And what is now your wellness regime?
Honestly, it is just to honour who I am in every way and be mindful and present. So I literally, as far as health and what I'm eating and what I do a fair bit of yoga. That's probably my main form of exercise, I guess you would say, because I also teach it as well. And then as far as food goes, I eat pretty much the 20-20 diet, so a paleo-inspired way of eating, very low fructose, if any, and no gluten or no dairy. I just eat really, if I feel like something really carby, I'll go for sweet potatoes, and I still eat treats, but I generally make raw chocolate, but chocolate bikini muffins if I really want something. I'll make whole food things, sweeten with things like stevia or maple syrup. I'm just very conscious, I guess, now.
Well, Lola, thank you so much for sharing your health journey.